The maintenance drone, designated MX-1192, had no way of knowing it was about to change the course of galactic history. Its metallic appendages traced well-worn paths through the ice tunnels of Europa, following the same programming it had for centuries. The drone's mission was simple: monitor the integrity of the ancient quarantine barrier that encased the Jovian moon. The barrier had been built by the Galactic Concordat 50,000 years ago, though none now remembered its true purpose. Like most relics of that era, it had become just another waypoint on an endless maintenance route, its original significance lost to time. MX-1192's sensors detected an anomaly 3 kilometers below the surface. A slight temperature variance, barely worth noting, but protocol demanded investigation. The drone adjusted its course, ice crystals scattering in its wake as it descended through a network of natural crevices. The discovery came without warning. One moment, the drone was scanning a seemingly solid ice wall. The next, its thermal sensors revealed a vast cavity beyond. The ice here was different. Too uniform, too perfect. As the drone's analysis beam struck the surface, something responded. Deep within the hidden facility, systems that had slumbered for millennia stirred. The drone's scan had triggered a cascade of ancient programs, each one awakening the next like a chain of falling dominoes. Emergency power cells, designed to last an eternity, pumped energy through long dormant circuits. The first sign was a pulse of blue light that rippled through the ice, so fast that even the drone's advanced sensors almost missed it. Then came the sound, a deep resonant hum that seemed to emanate from the moon itself. The ice wall before the drone began to shift, revealing glimpses of metal and composite materials that had no business being so deep below Europa's surface. In the facility's central chamber, 10,000 stasis pods began their reactivation sequence. Each pod contained a carefully chosen human, selected from Earth's best and brightest. They had been the ones who refused to accept the quarantine, who chose this desperate gambit over submission, while the rest of humanity faced their containment with defiance or resignation. These few had selected a different path: to sleep until the galaxy forgot them. The facility's primary control center hummed to life. Holographic displays flickered into existence, showing status reports that had been waiting 50 millennia to be read. The environmental systems engaged first, beginning the careful process of making the space habitable again. Then came the medical protocols, preparing for the complex task of reviving bodies that had been preserved through technologies that had been experimental even in their time. MX-1192 should have retreated. Its programming included clear protocols for discovering unknown technology. Withdraw, report, wait for instructions. But something in the facility's activation sequence had affected its systems. The drone found itself drawing closer, its sensors recording everything, as the ancient structure revealed itself. Inside the facility, the revival process had begun. Nutrient solutions flowed through previously empty tubes. Medical nanites, still functioning after 50,000 years, activated to begin repairing the subtle damage that even the best stasis technology couldn't prevent. In pod after pod, human hearts that had been still for longer than most civilizations had existed began to beat. The drone's presence had done more than just trigger a revival sequence. It had activated a beacon, one that broadcast on frequencies no one had used in millennia. The signal pierced through Europa's ice, through the quarantine barrier, and out into space. It carried no message, no warning. Just a simple ping that announced to anyone listening, something had changed. As the facility continued its awakening, the first of the pods began its final revival sequence. Inside, Dr. Emma Sullivan's consciousness began its long journey back from the abyss of stasis. She would be the first to open her eyes, the first to see what the galaxy had become in their absence. Humanity's long sleep was ending. The species that had been sealed away, The culture that had been deemed too dangerous to join the galactic community was about to return. And thanks to an unknowing drone, the galaxy would never be the same. Consciousness returned to Dr. Emma Sullivan like a tide washing over a beach. First came the sensation of cold, then the steady rhythm of her own heartbeat. Her mind, moving with surprising clarity, noted that the revival process had succeeded. The first major victory in 50,000 years. The pod's crystal surface dissolved into mist, releasing her into the dim light of the revival chamber. Her muscles, maintained by generations of nanites, responded without the expected stiffness. As she drew her first real breath in millennia, a voice filled the chamber. "Welcome back, Dr. Sullivan. I am Gardian. The date is October 7th, 74,523 CE, Standard Galactic Calendar. Initial medical scans indicate successful revival with no complications." Emma's voice was rough from disuse, but the words came easily. Status of the other pods. Revival sequence proceeding as designed. You are the first of 10 primary revival candidates. The others will follow within 24 hours. She pushed herself to a sitting position, taking in the vast chamber before her. Rows of pods stretched into the distance, each containing a carefully chosen representative of human knowledge and potential. The soft blue light of active revival protocols played across their surfaces. "And the reason for our revival?" she asked, though she could already see the answer in the active emergency displays. Protocol stated no revival unless. External discovery, Guardian confirmed. A maintenance drone breached our outer defenses. The facility's location is no longer secure. Primary protocol dictated immediate revival of leadership personnel. Emma made her way to the central control station, her steps growing more confident with each moment. The interface responded to her touch, displaying a stream of information about the current state of the facility and the galaxy beyond. "Show me what we've missed," she commanded. The holographic display erupted with information. The Galactic Concordat, once the ultimate authority in known space, had splintered into competing factions. Their technology had plateaued, frozen by fear of change and innovation. The quarantine of the solar system, once their proudest achievement, had become little more than a footnote in their histories. "They've forgotten us," Emma whispered, a mix of wonder and strategy in her voice. "They turned us into myths." "Correct," Guardian responded. "Humanity has become a cautionary tale. Your species is referenced in historical documents as the Chaos Makers or the Uncontrolled Ones. Most modern species believe you are extinct." A sudden alert flashed across the screens. The second pod in the revival sequence had completed its cycle. Dr. Marcus Reynolds, their chief physicist, would wake within minutes. Soon after would come Dr. Sarah Chen. No, Emma corrected herself. The name had been changed for security. Dr. Jennifer Hayes, their expert in xenobiology. Guardian, what's the status of our knowledge banks? All archives intact. The quantum storage systems have preserved every piece of human knowledge we chose to save, including the AI added with what almost sounded like pride. The combined scientific advancements we made during the final days before stasis. Emma smiled at that. The quarantine had been meant to contain humanity's dangerous tendency toward rapid innovation. Instead, it had given their best minds time to focus, to develop technologies that would have been impossible under the watchful eyes of the Concordat. The sound of another pod opening drew her attention. All around the chamber, more revival sequences were initiating. The facility was coming alive with the sounds of machinery and the first stirrings of human activity in 50,000 years. "They thought they could contain us," Emma said, watching as Marcus began to stir. "They never understood that humanity doesn't just survive. We adapt. We evolve." She turned back to the displays, already planning their next steps. "And now we're back. With 50,000 years of uninterrupted development, they know nothing about. Guardian's response held a note of what might have been anticipation. The galaxy is not ready for what humanity has become. The holographic display room had become their window into a universe that had moved on without them. Dr. Emma Sullivan stood with her revival team. Marcus Reynolds, Jennifer Hayes, and the newly awakened Dr. Thomas Chen, as they watched 5 decades of millennia flash before their eyes. "Stop there," Marcus called out, his enhanced mind already processing patterns in the data stream. "Guardian, focus on that star chart from the Centauri sector." The display shifted, revealing a region of space that had once been the heart of the Galactic Concordat, where a united civilization had once stood. Now 12 distinct factions claimed territory, their borders a web of contested lines and buffer zones. "They've regressed," Jennifer observed, her xenobiologist's eye-catching details others might miss. "Look at their ship designs. They haven't changed in over 3,000 years. They're building the same vessels over and over, just with different paint." Emma stepped forward, her hand passing through a holographic station that had once been a major trade hub. Not regression. Stagnation. They created so many rules to prevent another human incident that they trapped themselves in amber. The data continued to flow, showing how the once mighty Concordat had splintered not through war or disaster, but through the slow poison of fear. Fear of change, fear of innovation, fear of becoming what they had once quarantined. "They've turned us into monsters," Thomas said, his voice mixing amusement and concern as he brought up an educational file from a major Concordat remnant world. The file showed stylized images of humans, depicted as shadowy figures with burning eyes and technology that defied natural law. "No," Emma corrected, a slight smile playing at her lips. "They've turned us into gods. Look at the underlying text. The chaos bringers who reshaped reality. The species that broke the bounds of creation. They're not warning their children about monsters. They're telling tales of powers beyond their understanding." Guardian's voice added to the discussion. "Correct. Analysis of modern galactic culture shows that humanity has become a central figure in multiple mythological systems. You are simultaneously the cautionary tale of unbridled progress and the secret hope for breaking free from stagnation." The team watched as more data flowed past. Trade routes that hadn't changed in millennia, scientific papers that read more like religious texts in their rigid adherence to ancient principles, worlds where innovation was literally against the law. "Show me the void," Emma commanded, having caught references to it in several files. The display shifted again, this time to the galaxy's edge. There, something that defied their understanding was slowly consuming star systems. "The ultimate price of stagnation," Marcus muttered, his enhanced mind already running calculations. "They don't have the tools to even comprehend what they're facing, let alone fight it." Jennifer stepped closer to the display, her expression thoughtful. "But we might. Our minds are different now. I can feel it. The way we process information. The speed of our thoughts. The stasis changed us." "Not just the stasis," Thomas added, bringing up their medical scans. "Look at these neural patterns. The nanites we used, combined with 50,000 years of micro-adjustments. We're not the same humans they locked away. We're something new." Emma watched her team work, each of them displaying the enhanced cognitive abilities that had been an unexpected gift of their long sleep. The galaxy had changed during their absence, but so had they. Where the Concordat's children had chosen safety through stagnation, humanity had evolved even in its enforced slumber. "Guardian," she called out, "begin revival sequence for the secondary teams. We're going to need everyone." She turned to her colleagues, her eyes bright with purpose. The galaxy needed a boogeyman to explain their own fear of progress. Instead, they're going to get something much more interesting. A human race that's finally grown into those myths they created about us. The holographic displays continued their dance of information, but now they looked less like a historical record and more like a challenge. Humanity was about to step back onto the galactic stage, and this time, they had the power to live up to their legend. The medical bay of the Europa facility hummed with activity as Dr. Emma Sullivan studied the neural scan floating before her. The three-dimensional image of her brain rotated slowly, vast networks of new neural pathways glowing like starfields against the darker background of standard brain matter. "It's beautiful," Dr. Jennifer Hayes whispered, her own enhanced mind already mapping the patterns. "The nanites didn't just preserve us, they'd rebuilt us from the inside out." Marcus Reynolds stood at a nearby console, running simulations that would have taken teams of scientists months to complete in their previous era. His fingers danced across the holographic interface with inhuman speed, each movement precise and purposeful. "The processing speed is off the charts," he reported, not looking up from his work. "We're not just thinking faster, we're thinking differently. The neural architecture has evolved beyond anything in our medical records." Emma watched as more data poured across the screens. The stasis process, combined with the experimental nanites they'd used, had created something entirely new. Each human who emerged from the pods showed the same changes. Vast networks of new neural connections, enhanced processing capabilities, and a level of cognitive function that their ancestors would have considered impossible. "Guardian," Emma called out, "show me the comparative analysis." The AI complied, displaying a side-by-side comparison of human brain function before and after stasis. The difference was startling. Where once their neural pathways had been like city streets, now they resembled three-dimensional superhighways, information flowing in patterns that defied traditional neuroscience. "We think in quantum now," Thomas Chen observed, his voice carrying a note of wonder. "The nanites used quantum principles to maintain our consciousness during stasis. They've reformed our brains to process information the same way." Emma nodded, understanding the implications. "We're not just smarter, we're a new stage of human evolution. The very thing the Concordat feared most about us has been amplified beyond their darkest nightmares." The room fell silent as they processed this reality. The humans who had gone into stasis as brilliant but normal members of their species had emerged as something more. Each of them could feel it. The way concepts linked together with supernatural speed. The ability to process vast amounts of information in seconds, the strange new ways their thoughts moved through their enhanced neural networks. "Run a Level 5 cognitive challenge," Emma commanded, moving to one of the testing stations. The system responded, presenting her with a series of problems that would have challenged the brightest minds of their previous era. She solved them in seconds. Marcus whistled low. That would have taken a team of scientists a week before. The applications for this are unlimited, Jennifer finished, her own mind racing with possibilities. But it's more than just raw processing power. Look at the creativity metrics. She gestured to a section of the display showing problem-solving patterns. "We're not just computing faster, we're making connections that shouldn't be possible." Thomas brought up another set of scans, these showing the active neural patterns of their recently awakened colleagues. "It's consistent across all subjects. Everyone who underwent the stasis process has developed these changes. We're all evolving along the same path." Emma studied the data, her enhanced mind already seeing the larger picture. The quarantine had been meant to contain humanity's dangerous potential for growth and change. Instead, it had created the perfect environment for that potential to flourish in ways no one could have predicted. "This is why we'll succeed where the Concordat failed," she said finally, her voice firm with conviction. "They spent 50,000 years running from change. We embraced it, even in our sleep." She turned to her team, seeing the same understanding in their eyes. "We're not just going to rejoin galactic society. We're going to revolutionize it." Guardian's voice added, A final note. Warning. External vessel approaching Europa's orbit. First contact is now imminent. The team exchanged looks, their enhanced minds already preparing for what was to come. The galaxy was about to meet the new face of humanity, ready or not. The Concordat science vessel, Eternal Seeker, hung in Europa's orbit like a graceful silver arrow, its design unchanged from templates that were ancient when humanity went into stasis. Dr. Emma Sullivan watched it through the facility's external cameras, her enhanced mind calculating possibilities at lightning speed. "They're scanning us," Marcus reported from his station, his fingers dancing across holographic controls. "Their technology is, primitive isn't the right word, perfect, but frozen, like looking at a photograph of what we used to be." The facility's command center had become their first contact hub. Jennifer Hayes monitored the biological signatures from the vessel, while Thomas Chen analyzed their communications protocols. Their enhanced minds worked in perfect synchronization, processing data that would have overwhelmed their previous selves. 17 crew members, Jennifer announced. 3 different species, mainly Centaurians, with 2 Proxians, and what appears to be a Nilari observer, all species that evolved to prominence after our time. Guardian's voice added to the analysis. "Their weapons are powered but not armed. Standard protocol for a research vessel of their class. They are broadcasting first contact protocols that haven't changed in 40,000 years." Emma made her decision. "Open a channel. Let's show them something new." The main screen lit up with an image that made the entire command center fall silent. The alien crew stared back at them, their expressions a mix of fear, fascination, and disbelief. The ship's lead researcher, a tall Centaurian with iridescent scales, actually took a step back from their communication panel. "Greetings, Eternal Seeker," Emma said, her voice clear and confident. "I am Dr. Emma Sullivan of Earth. Welcome to Europa." The silence that followed was deafening. The Centaurian scales shifted through a rainbow of colors before they found their voice. This is impossible. The humans were quarantined. The records show they died out millennia ago." "The records," Emma replied with a slight smile, "are incomplete." The Nilari observer moved forward, its crystalline form catching the light. "You claim to be human, the chaos bringers of legend." Its tone held equal parts terror and excitement. "We prefer innovators," Emma countered, then demonstrated their evolution by solving a complex astronomical equation the alien sensors were processing before they could complete it themselves. The crew's reaction was immediate, their composure cracking as they witnessed something their rigid scientific principles said was impossible. "How did you?" the lead researcher started. "The same way we survived," Emma explained, her team feeding her data as she spoke. "We adapted. We evolved. While the galaxy chose stability, we embraced change, even in our sleep." She paused, letting them process this. "And now we'd like to talk about the void that's threatening your outer systems." The mention of the void sent a visible shudder through the alien crew. The Proxians, their tentacled forms writhing with anxiety, moved closer to their screens. "You know of the darkness?" one asked. "We've been studying your data since we awoke," Emma confirmed. "Your civilizations have the knowledge to stop it, but your fear of innovation has prevented you from seeing the solution. We can help, if you're willing to trust the monsters from your legends." The command center fell silent as both sides considered the weight of this moment. The aliens saw before them their greatest fear, humans not just surviving, but enhanced beyond their previous capabilities. Yet these same humans offered hope against a threat that had defied all their traditional solutions. The lead researcher's scales finally settled on a deep blue of decision. "The legends say your kind brought chaos to order. Perhaps that is what we need now." Emma's enhanced mind had already calculated a 93% probability of this response, but she kept her expression neutral. Then let's begin. We have much to show you, and the void isn't waiting. As the two ships began their historic exchange, Emma felt the weight of the moment. Humanity's return to the galactic stage hadn't come with violence or vengeance, but with an offer of hope. The Chaos Bringers had evolved into something more. They had become the bridge between what was and what could be. The strategic command center within the Europa facility had been transformed. Holographic displays showed the creeping darkness at the edge of known space, while representatives from 7 major factions of the former Concordat watched in silent horror as Dr. Emma Sullivan demonstrated the true scope of their problem. The void isn't just consuming space, she explained, her enhanced mind translating complex quantum mechanics into terms they could grasp. It's unwriting reality itself. Every system it takes doesn't just die. It never existed in the first place. Marcus Reynolds stepped forward, his hands manipulating the display to show the wave of entropy spreading across the galaxy's edge. Your scientists have been measuring it wrong. It's not a natural phenomenon. It's a weapon, or rather, the uncontrolled aftermath of one. The Nilari observer from the Eternal Seeker, now joined by 3 more of its crystalline kind, chimed in with a harmonious note of distress. A weapon, but our records show no civilization has developed new weapons technology in over 10,000 years. Exactly the problem, Jennifer Hayes added, her eyes scanning real-time data from the void's expansion. You've been so focused on maintaining what you have that you can't see what you're actually fighting. This isn't from your era. It's much, much older. The holographic display shifted, showing mathematical models that the enhanced humans had developed in mere hours, work that would have taken the stagnant civilization centuries to complete. The aliens watched in a mixture of fear and fascination as their most dreaded legends demonstrated why they had been so feared. Look at the quantum signature, Thomas Chen pointed out, highlighting patterns in the void structure. It's similar to our stasis technology, but corrupted. Someone tried to create a temporal weapon and lost control of it. Emma watched the alien representatives process this information. Their rigid adherence to traditional knowledge had left them helpless against a threat that required innovation to understand. Yet here they were, turning to their ancient enemy for salvation. 3 more systems were lost yesterday, a Centaurian admiral reported, his scales a deep purple of mourning. The evacuation protocols are failing. We can't move people fast enough. The room's atmosphere grew heavier as the latest data scrolled across their screens. The void's rate of expansion had increased by 12% in the past week alone. Traditional models showed the entire galaxy would be consumed within 5 years. We don't have time for traditional solutions, Emma declared, her voice cutting through the despair. Your civilizations have the building blocks we need, but you've forgotten how to use them. Your technology is perfect. And that's the problem. Perfect things don't grow. They don't adapt. She gestured to her team, each of them already processing different aspects of the crisis with their enhanced capabilities. We went into stasis rather than accept a future without growth. Even in our sleep, we continued to evolve. Now we offer you the same choice: adapt or face extinction. The Proxian representative, its tentacles writhing in agitation, spoke up. You propose we trust the very species we feared would destroy us to save us from destruction. No, Emma corrected, a slight smile playing at her lips. We propose to show you why that fear was always misplaced. Humanity never wanted to destroy. We wanted to create, to explore, to push beyond what was known into what could be. The display changed again, showing a possible solution that the enhanced humans had been developing. It was radical, combining elements of their stasis technology with principles that the aliens had never dared to connect. This is going to require all of us, Emma continued. Your resources, your technology, combined with our ability to see new possibilities. The question isn't whether you can trust us, it's whether you can trust yourselves to change. As the alien representatives considered her words, emergency alerts flashed across the screens. 2 more systems had just vanished into the void, taking billions of lives with them. Time was running out, and the galaxy's only hope lay in the hands of those they had once locked away as too dangerous to exist. The future would be chaos, or nothing at all. The combined fleet hung at the edge of the void, like a shield of light against the darkness. 5,000 ships of various designs and origins, all modified according to specifications that had taken the enhanced humans mere days to develop. Dr. Emma Sullivan stood on the bridge of the lead vessel, the New Dawn, her mind connected to the fleet's network through interfaces that would have been impossible just weeks ago. Final modifications complete, Marcus called out from his station, where holographic displays showed the status of their desperate plan. The quantum resonance fields are synchronized across all vessels. We're as ready as we'll ever be. The past week had been a blur of activity as humanity demonstrated why they had once been considered too dangerous to join galactic society. The enhanced humans had taken apart and rebuilt centuries-old technology, creating something new from the bones of the old. Their solution combined their advanced stasis technology with the vast energy resources of the allied species. Field test complete, Jennifer reported, her eyes moving rapidly as she processed data streams. The temporal shields are holding at 120% of projected capacity, better than we hoped. Thomas Chen's voice added to the stream of information. The void's reaction to our presence is exactly as predicted. It's already beginning to alter its pattern to attack us. Emma nodded, her enhanced mind processing multiple scenarios simultaneously. The plan was beautiful in its complexity yet simple in its core concept. They would use modified stasis fields not to stop the void, but to change it, to evolution it, just as they had evolved. All ships report ready, the Centaurian admiral announced, his scales shifting through patterns of nervous anticipation. Though I still don't fully understand what we're about to do, understanding isn't required. Emma replied with a slight smile. That's the point. Your civilization spent so long trying to understand everything before acting that you lost the ability to leap into the unknown. Sometimes you have to jump first and build your wings on the way down. The fleet's formation was perfect, each ship positioned according to mathematical principles that the enhanced humans had calculated. The void loomed before them, a darkness that seemed to drink in light itself. Sensors showed 3 more systems on the verge of being consumed. Begin the sequence, Emma commanded. Throughout the fleet, humans and aliens worked together, their combined technology creating something that neither could have achieved alone. The modified stasis fields activated, creating a web of quantum energy that connected all 5,000 ships. Energy levels rising, Marcus reported. Field integrity at maximum. The void is responding. The darkness before them seemed to writhe, as if recognizing a worthy opponent for the first time. The fleet's sensors detected changes in its quantum structure as it reacted to their presence. Now, Emma's command triggered the final phase. The fleet released a carefully calculated pulse of energy, not fighting the void but joining with it, changing it from within. The enhanced humans had realized that the void wasn't just a weapon. It was an unfinished experiment in reality manipulation. The space between ships lit up with impossible colors as their modified stasis fields interacted with the void's own energy. The darkness began to change, its structure shifting as the human solution took effect. It's working. Jennifer's voice held wonder as she monitored the changes. The void's quantum signature is stabilizing. It's not just stopping, it's transforming. The alien crews watched in awe as their greatest threat was not destroyed, but reformed. The very unpredictability that had made humanity so feared had allowed them to see a solution where none had seemed possible. Energy conversion complete, Thomas reported. The void is different. We've changed its fundamental nature. Emma stood at the center of it all, her enhanced mind already processing the implications of what they had achieved. They hadn't just saved the galaxy. They had proven that change, even dangerous change, was not something to be feared, but to be embraced. Send word to the fleet, she commanded. Phase 1 is complete. Now comes the interesting part, teaching the galaxy how to live with what we've created. The transformed void pulsed before them, no longer a threat, but a door to new possibilities. Humanity had done more than survive. They had evolved, and brought the rest of the galaxy with them. 3 months after the transformation of the void, the Europa facility had become the center of a new age. Dr. Emma Sullivan stood in the newly constructed Galactic Council chamber, where representatives from every major civilization had gathered to witness something that would have been unthinkable just months ago. The readings are extraordinary, Marcus announced, displaying the latest data from the transformed void. What was once a force of destruction has become a gateway to understanding the universe in ways we never imagined. The transformed region now pulsed with stable energy, its quantum structure revealing secrets about the nature of reality itself. Research teams, composed of both enhanced humans and alien scientists, worked together to unravel its mysteries. Jennifer Hayes stepped forward, her presentation showing the biological impact of their discovery. The same principles we use to transform the void are helping us understand evolution itself. We're not just learning about the past. We're glimpsing the future of all species. The alien representatives, once fearful of human unpredictability, now watched with fascination. The Nilari observer's crystalline form sparkled as it spoke. Our legends called you chaos bringers. We never understood that chaos was simply change we weren't ready to accept. Thomas Chen's team had been working with the Centaurian Engineering Corps, breaking down the barriers of traditional design. We're not just sharing technology, he reported. We're teaching them how to think beyond their limits. The first new ship designs in 10,000 years are already in production. Emma surveyed the chamber, her enhanced mind taking in every detail of this historic moment. The fear that had once quarantined humanity had been replaced by something more powerful: hope. The stagnant civilizations were learning to embrace change, while humanity had learned the wisdom of guided evolution. We've discovered something remarkable about the void, she announced to the assembly. It wasn't a weapon gone wrong. It was a doorway left unfinished. The ancient civilization that created it was attempting to reach beyond our universe. The chamber erupted in excited discussion as Emma continued. Our enhanced minds have decoded the quantum signatures. They were like us, seekers who pushed too far too fast. But where they failed, we can succeed because we've learned to balance innovation with understanding. The Proxian ambassador, its tentacles moving in patterns of deep thought, asked the question that had been on many minds. Does this mean humans will once again lead us into the unknown? Emma's response was measured, showing the wisdom that had come with their evolution. No, we'll walk together. Our gift isn't just the ability to change, it's the ability to help others embrace change without fear. She gestured to the holographic display, where the transformed void now shone like a beacon. We're establishing the first joint research initiative. Every species working together to understand not just the void, but the very nature of evolution and change. The chamber's atmosphere was electric with possibility. The very qualities that had once made humanity too dangerous to join galactic society had become the key to its renewal. The enhanced humans had shown that evolution wasn't just about survival. It was about growth, understanding, and the courage to face the unknown. The quarantine era is officially over, Emma declared. But so is the era of uncontrolled change. We've all evolved, humans through our long sleep, and you through facing your fears. Now we move forward together. As the chamber erupted in applause, Emma shared a knowing look with her team. They had done more than save the galaxy. They had transformed it, just as they had transformed themselves. The legends of the Chaos Bringers would be rewritten, not as a warning, but as a promise of what was possible when fear gave way to hope. Guardian's voice, now integrated into the chamber systems, added a final note. New quantum signatures detected beyond the transformed void. Unknown origin. Shall we investigate? Emma smiled as all eyes turned to her. The answer was clear. They would face whatever came next together, changed but unafraid. The future was no longer a void to fear, but a mystery to explore.